Welcome to episode 6 of the World of Screens podcast. On today's show, we are reviewing Superman, the beginning of the new DCU. We're also going to talk iconic Superman moments in cinema, and as always, take a look at last weekend at the Aussie box office. I'm Nicola Barrow, the founder and film editor of World of Screens, joined as always by Mr. Peter Gray from the AU Review, Rotten Tomatoes certified critic man himself, who has jumped on the 91% certified fresh Superman train. How you going, Pete? Big night, big day, big morning.
Yeah, it's like obviously we had the screening last night.
Yep.
I may have been up at a ridiculous time in the morning to speak to actors for a completely different movie.
Different
But
movie.
we soldier on. We do it for the love of movies.
Amen.
As much as people think we're all getting paid, because I'm seeing so much discourse right now about
There's a lot of weird rhetoric about
and
positive
and
reviews getting paid for
that's it. It seems to be around Superman.
for some
Um,
reason.
and everyone's like, if you just remember those good reviews, they're all paid for. And like every critic has been like, that is not how this works at all.
Still waiting for my checks if that's the case. Still
Like
waiting for my
some
goddamn checks.
some critics are paid,
Yes,
but
it's
they're not
because it's their job.
because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
their
yeah.
job, but they're not paid to write a good review.
Well, they're not paid by Warner Brothers, so to
That's it.
say.
They're not paid. Yeah, they're not paid by Warner Brothers to give it a good review.
Mm.
And it's like, and they're allowed to see the film
Hmm.
very early, like we have been for some stuff for
Hmm.
interview
Yep, yep.
opportunities. And it's like, and you're allowed to be enthusiastic about the interview, but then still give the film like a middling, even
Exactly.
negative review as well.
We've done that many
It's
times.
it's very, very funny what people think. And naturally it comes around a superhero film because they're always the ones that upset people the
For,
most. So
for some reason, for some godforsaken reason, Superman just manages to get under
yeah.
people's skin, and I don't know why. I don't know why. But we will be talking about that in our review for Superman, and like I said, with the iconic Superman moments. But before we get into that, if you could subscribe and like on your preferred podcasting platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel there. And you can go to worldofscreens.com and subscribe to our email list. You'll never miss a review like the Superman one that's going out today. And on Instagram at World of Screens. All the support is incredibly helpful. Let's start the show by looking back at Superman cinematically. 1978, Superman
Hmm.
hits the screens iconically. Dick Donner, Chris Reeves. We got arguably what is like many people's favorite superhero film. Then we got three sequels. One of them which was okay, two which were pretty trash. Superman 4: The Quest for Peace, still being one of my favorite Family Guy jokes of all time. Where he goes, don't you know? I love it when they say the name of the movie in the movie, and he goes, "If I have to do this, I have to become Superman 4: The Quest for Peace." Still one of the best Family Guy jokes of all time. And then we got Brandon Routh, we got Henry Cavill. We've had a couple of Superman in cinemas. We've had a fair few Superman movies, but each of them, despite the varying quality, have their moments, have their iconic moments. And I'm going to kick us off with what I think is my favorite Superman moment cinematically.
Hmm.
And this song is on when I do decide to go to the gym once every 6 months. It's on my workout playlist. And that's Hans Zimmer's Flight because I think Superman taking flight in Man of Steel, the
Hmm.
music, the cinematography, the special effects, Henry Cavill's acting, Zack Snyder, the way he shoots it is like iconic and it is insane. But I don't, I that's just one for me. What do you feel like taking flight is that one that sticks out for you as an iconic Superman moment?
Oh, yeah, like it's it's funny look just going off of mentioning Superman in cinema. Like it's funny how there's more averageness
Yes.
than there is amazingness.
I don't know if we said this last week with Jurassic World, but that's the same with the Jurassic movies, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
more bad ones than good ones, and it's the same with Superman.
Superman. And like in my review, like I spoke about like how it's we've had Superman on screens for like 8 decades, almost eight
Yeah,
decades now.
yeah.
Like
It's
it's
crazy,
you know,
yeah.
like George Reeves before that there was like this Superman serial in like 1948.
Yep, yep.
And then obviously, yeah, George Reeves, Christopher Reeves, Brandon Routh, Henry Cavill. TV, Tom Welling, Dean Cain, Tyler Hoechlin, like
Yeah, he's been
Lego
around.
appearances, animation,
That's true.
Nicolas Cage, all that sort of stuff. But more often than not, Superman hasn't been as super.
Despite
But
being so beloved, like he is
yeah,
like the superhero, right? Like,
and we'll probably talk about it more in the review, but it's like it sort of begs the question as to like, do we need another one?
sure, sure.
But yeah, I think in terms of like iconic scenes, like I think one of the ones that comes to mind the most is in Superman with Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, and it's when he changes his posture.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
He's going from Clark to Superman. Yeah, yeah.
it's wild to watch because,
Mm.
there's always the joke of like putting on glasses, like, oh my God, does it really change what a person looks like?
Looks
And
like,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
think, look, I'm gonna think Henry Cavill, it was like there was no disguising that. Like,
That man's pure 100% A grade beef. Like
yeah,
that's hard
like
to
yeah.
hard to manage.
Um, but Christopher Reeve just had this way, like as Clark, he put himself in like he kind of had a I guess weaker demeanor, like he kind
Sure.
of hunched over a little bit. He was very like quite timid. He was all like a bit like oh, like and
Yeah,
then
totally. Yeah.
there's like there's a scene where she's getting ready for something and I think he's like, is this the moment where I maybe reveal myself to her? And he takes his glasses off and he just fixes his posture, but it absolutely changes his whole demeanor. Like it's almost like you see him like get bigger
Bigger.
on
Yeah, yeah. I know
screen.
what you mean. Yeah.
It's wild to watch, and I think that just sticks out because it's like it really just shows the dichotomy of like Clark Kent and
And
Superman
yeah,
and how he
totally.
presents himself.
David
And
Corenswet has a moment of that briefly in the new one as well, which kind of
yes,
solidified you went, oh yes, this guy
yeah,
knows what he's embodying a lot of Christopher Reeves in the film.
yeah. But yeah, I find that he was like the shy, awkward vulnerability of Christopher Reeve with the like, I guess, classical handsomeness of Henry Cavill.
Yes, yeah.
But he gets away with it in a much different
Different
way.
way, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the kind of one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of Superman, just that shot of him
Yeah. Just
getting
yeah,
bigger. Like
just
it's
becoming
yeah,
Superman, right?
and
Yeah.
and like purely just it's like there's no special effects. It's not
It's
a
just
trick
him
of
and his
the
body,
way. It's
yeah.
just him. It's just him immediately changing his posture, and
It's pretty great.
it's really really great to see. And
Let's
sort of goes back to being like, oh, remember when films like did that sort of stuff without
just
special
practical
effects?
in-camera
Yeah,
shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Let's stay on 1978 Superman because I think obviously the relationship with Lois Lane is super important. I think flying her around as Superman and just this I know that the whole like not the whole marketing campaign or like the thing bringing people in was like you'll believe a man can fly.
Mm,
And it's great. Though I mean for 1978 those Superman flying scenes are awesome. But when he
mm,
has Lois with him and they're going on this like very romantic flight around Metropolis, I think that sort of embodies the fact that despite being an alien, Superman is still human and he's been on
mm,
Earth long enough. And that's something that's very much hammered home in the new one as well. So I think that
mm.
like it's just a sort of sweet, iconic scene. It's hard to go past the chemistry of Chris Reeve and Margaret Kidder in that
Yeah,
film as well. I think they're really great together as in that moment. So that's a really sweet scene for
yeah.
me if we're still talking about the original one. Yeah.
And like I guess even though it's not a Superman movie, like I guess because of my how old I was, like
Hmm.
I was 8, 9 years old when Lois and Clark came out.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of at like a kind of a peak age of like, oh my
Almost like the
God,
best
like
age to be introduced to
so for like
Superman.
from
Yeah.
like 9 years old till I was 13 or whatever it was, like Lois and Clark was
It. Right. Yeah. That
such
was
a
your
that
Superman.
was such a monumental thing of television.
Hmm.
And like I'm not going to get into the whole like because everyone has their opinion on Dean Cain,
Sure. Sure.
but
Yeah.
it's like, but for 4 years,
The 1990s Dean Kane. Yeah. Yeah.
Him and Terry Hatcher together, they were like a very formidable Clark Kent, Superman, Lois Lane.
Hmm.
Their chemistry was pretty insane, and there was a lot of really beautiful moments of like, yeah, like the romantic side of their relationship. And Lois and Clark very much like the new Superman very much brought me back to
Totally.
that show in just how kind of colorful and a bit over the top that it is.
Sure.
But yeah, so not like cinematic iconic moments, but like there's a shot in Lois and Clark of like the moon
Mm.
and Superman and Lois and like flying up and
Yeah.
like in front of it and
And
kind of like
it's yeah.
embracing each other, and her leg is like out with her high heel shoe and his cape is flowing. It's just like, come
Yeah.
on, you
It's
know? Yeah,
iconic imagery, right?
yeah,
That's yeah,
yeah.
it's incredible. Um Back to some action. I love the obviously I think a lot of people talk about this one as well, the plane scene in Superman Returns.
Oh,
We're flying in here, it's Supermaning around my
the
face right now.
the irony of you having it fly.
I know, I know.
Couldn't couldn't even
Couldn't ask
couldn't
it.
couldn't pay that.
I'm I'm not gonna stop it like Superman. I'm not gonna crush this fly, unfortunately, because I want to be able to catch it. But yeah, the obviously there's and it's involving Lois again. It's kind of like the first time
Hmm.
Superman and Lois see each other after this 5 year hiatus. Um, but I just think the intensity of that scene and the special effects for 2006 are
Hmm.
truly, truly, pardon me, incredible. I watched this again a few nights ago, and it was the first time I'd seen it since I was probably like 12 years old. So we're talking
Wow.
18 years ago, probably I saw it.
Yeah.
And despite the flaws of the film, despite the flaws of people involved with making and acting in the film, that scene I was
Oh,
quite
why?
taken back by.
Who's in it, Nick?
Just one little Kevin Spacey directed by one little Bryan Singer. But just
Uh,
that, like that scene was incredible. And I have my issues with the film, but I didn't hate it. I actually thought it captured a lot of really great spirit about what Superman is about. Just a little bland at points, but that scene
hmm.
is a standout. And then also in Superman Returns, which is a homage to Superman catching the bullet in the
Hmm.
alleyway, Brandon Routh getting shot in the eye and having the bullet like just flatten and then fall is pretty sick. Like
Yeah.
there's some moments in Superman Returns that are really cool.
It was disappointing that Superman Returns never kicked off the way like
Mm.
it would have been interesting to see
Yeah.
what their plan was
Continuation of
for
that
this
would have
thing
been, yeah.
because I love the fact that Superman Returns like Brandon Routh it's technically in meant to be in the same timeline as the Christopher
Christopher
Reeve
Reeves,
Superman
yes.
like he's established as you said with like they haven't seen each other for so many years yeah it's just a shame that it was one of those things where like oh well the box office didn't speak but I think
No.
looking back like its money like
It
wasn't
made like $380 million or something, which
like
is
it
still
wasn't
great.
awful.
Mm.
But
God
yeah.
no.
And like leading up to Superman, I decided because I was like I haven't seen it in a while and I want to know if it really was just as kind of bad as
Yeah.
not that I, because I actually didn't mind it when I saw it in the cinemas, but obviously, like since then, a whole lot of discourse, like Zack Snyder's 4 hour cut completely changes Justice League. But I was like,
Sure.
I'm going to watch the theatrical Zack Snyder slash
Justice
Joss
League, I
Whedon
believe, is what they call it. Yes.
Justice League. And even though that movie ends up being like just, a wash with CGI
Yeah.
with Steppenwolf and everything and obviously the mustache mouth is a bit off.
It's a
I
bold way
was
to open your film, that's for
yeah,
sure.
I was rewatching Justice League and was like,
Mm.
this isn't terrible.
It's funny how time can do that because I was the same with Man of Steel. I remember seeing Man of Steel in the cinemas and I was edgy little 18-year-old. And I put on Facebook, I was like, Man of Steel just felt like I was watching Superman go through PMS for 2 hours.
Jesus.
But you know what I mean? Like I was a little fucking cunt of a kid. So I watch it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times in the last couple of years for various Superman
Mm,
based reasons. And I love the first half of that movie. It balances grit, it balances hope. It's very sort of we were talking about it after the screening last night. While we loved the gritty superhero films as sort of a
mm.
singular event, we like where the new direction of the DCU is going. But in that moment, I was like, it is cool to be like, what if Superman was in a real world? What if
Yeah,
this wasn't Metropolis? What if this like it is Metropolis, but what if it was,
yeah.
very much so set in reality? And growing up and maturing over time has been like that kind of works. So it's funny how like the retrospect can change on those sorts of things.
Yeah.
I do love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I
Oh,
think that's a
Zack
really good
Snyder's
idea.
Justice League is incredible, and it's
Yes,
the
that
same kind of
vision's
thing.
quite great. Yeah,
And it's the same kind of thing where like the extended director's cut of Batman versus Superman very much
mm.
is a better film than the theatrical cut. Like Justice League has its issues,
Big
absolutely.
time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I was just watching it being like, yeah, this I I don't know why ever like I don't know,
It's expectation versus what we get,
yeah,
right? Like
because I was
expectation is
like
always the killer in those
and
situations.
I was like, I was like, Ben Affleck makes a good, gritty
Yeah,
Batman. I was like, we never had an issue with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but like,
yeah,
and I was like, I think Ezra Miller was a really like,
yeah.
fun the Flash, and I
Had
was
a
like,
lot of really fun youthful energy. Yeah,
I was like, but also it's not, it's not taking away all the things that he went through
sure.
personally. Like I was like, I really like, the take on Aquaman
Yep.
with which was so unexpected. I think just the problem was that we hadn't had their. I think things would obviously be much different if we had their individual films.
Yeah.
Then we had Justice League. Like that
It
was
was
the
that
issue.
rush, wasn't it? It
They were really
was
trying to be like, we need an Avengers moment quicker, and it's like,
yeah,
no, you've got to give every film their time because obviously watching Justice League and then knowing what the solo films do, you're like, oh, there are things that are lining up, but a lot of other things that
that one. Yeah,
aren't.
absolutely.
But no, I rewatched it and I was like, you know what, this is fun.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we all piled on a bit too hard. I think we all let the
The
personal
outside stuff
the
sort of
outside
influence it.
stuff
Yeah.
creep in because and it's like we are not obviously like what people do personally is horrible in a lot of these situations, but I was like
Mm.
it shouldn't I don't know, it shouldn't necessarily
It sh
affect.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't, but it's
It's like
sometimes hard when it doesn't. Yeah.
it's sometimes very difficult to separate art from artist.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you've also got to remember there are so many other people that did nothing wrong.
Totally.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
there are more people in Justice League that are
That are
fine than there
innocent,
are
then yeah, yeah, yeah.
that are problematic. So yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean it's like talking about all this like Man of Steel, Superman Returns, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, Justice League, the TV's like, Smallville had its
Massive run.
whole
Huge.
but it had its controversial thing with like the Nexum
Oh
sex
yeah, the sex cult.
stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Like there's
Fuck,
always
I forgot about
something
that.
like,
Yeah.
but it seems like there's always something involving a Superman movie or a Superman
Yes.
show, but it's
Yes.
like it can't take away like what it mean, like what that character means to people,
Hmm.
what those movies do, what those TV shows do.
Totally.
So it'd be very interesting to see what is going to happen
Hmm.
with this Superman because right now, apart from people having their issues with James Gunn, this cast seems pretty clean.
They
So
seem clean. It seems almost as if the controversies with this Superman is that a certain group of potentially politically aligned people forgot the fact that Superman is an alien and an immigrant to our country, yet we still embrace him because he embraces the things about his home planet and our home planet and manages to assimilate them quite well. And
yeah,
that's a problem for some reason, according to a certain group of people. But we can talk about that because James Gunn hasn't shied away from that uh,
no,
in this film. So,
no,
but Superman cinematically on TV, there's a reason I feel like he's so beloved and has withstood the test of time, like you said, for almost 8 decades, which is crazy. So
yeah.
I'm very excited for people to see what happens in the new one, and which we will talk about right after we talk about last week in the Australian box office, provided to us by Numero Box Office. Por favor, thank you again. The top five movies from the past weekend, this weekend gone. Coming in at number five, $716,000, 28 years later, still holding quite strong in a school holiday period. That's not bad at
That
all.
is, I keep forgetting it's school holidays.
You
So
won't forget when I start reading out what the next sort of films are. But I'm pretty happy with this performance. I think it almost guarantees that third movie that Danny
well,
Boyle was fighting
I
for
think
with
it
the no
has.
junkets.
I think in the US it's made the 60 million threshold. I think
That's
worldwide,
incredible.
I think worldwide it's hit over. Is it hit over 100 worldwide?
Just having a look right now
Feel like
for
it
you.
has.
126 million
There you
worldwide.
go. So we know the second film is done. Surely,
I
like
I
I feel
think
like
they've
it's
got it in the
you know,
bag. I think they'll
yeah,
be okay. So we'll be
yeah.
getting the trilogy as intended and as
Because I'm
wished.
sure some of that 60 million would probably trickle into the second film's budget as well. So
I would
yeah,
say so. Yeah, because it seems
yeah.
like they shot them back to back.
Back
So,
to back. Yeah.
save some money there. Coming in at number four at 750,000, but with a cumulative total in Australia of $29 million so far, Lilo and Stitch. Wow. No wonder we're getting a sequel.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, it's on the threshold, 975 million
it's
worldwide. Will
it's
it
on
crack
that.
the billion?
It's on like at this. I'm like, it feels very close that it could, but I'm like, but it's also been out for so long that now, like,
Yeah.
a whole like I don't know, like $25 million is like a lot when it comes to you've been in the cinemas for like a month, over a month,
And
2 months
there's no like when Avengers or Spider-Man
now.
or Avatar do their, we're gonna release like a different version of it kind of with like
Mm.
3 seconds of extra footage and it manages to get like $25 million worth of people around the world to
Yeah,
come out and see it. Like Lilo and Stitch doesn't really have that. There's no like musical elements, so you can't do like the sing-along version and stuff.
yeah,
It
and
literally
it's
would
like,
just be like, please get us to $1 billion. We
yeah,
will re-release.
and they, it's very funny how studios like aren't pushing, well, not every, like some studios are, but like this whole
Mhm.
thing, I'm like, you release a movie physically,
Yep.
that gives you more money. So it's
Yes.
like this whole thing about like, oh,
Yes.
but like when it goes to digital, you're like, yeah, okay, it probably it makes some money on digital, but I'm
Mm.
like, you were making so much money with the release of DVDs and Blu-rays and 4K. So it's like,
Yeah,
I don't
especially with a
understand.
movie that big, because
Yeah.
it was rumored, and this is a tangent. It was rumored that Anora
Mm.
worldwide made more when it came out on VOD than it did in cinemas.
Yeah.
But that also had awards buzz afterwards. People maybe
Yeah.
even wanting to go to the cinema to see the sex worker film, right? Like there's still
The
prudishness and
the
shit.
almost 3 hour sex film. Yeah.
But yeah, if Lilo and Stitch crosses, that'll be the first American billion dollar film of the year.
I mean,
So
yeah, I mean, I was convinced that it was going to be Minecraft,
yes, so was I.
but yeah,
But
that
not
just
even Chicken Jockey could get it across the line. So I
so
wonder if that
we.
hurt it at all. If people were like, oh, I
I
don't want to go to the
mean,
cinema and get shit thrown at
there
me.
there were like as much as it seemed like oh we're embracing chicken jockey, but I was like, but there was a lot of backlash. There were a
But
lot of
yeah,
people
yeah.
who were like, you've had to call in the police, you've had to call in security.
Yeah, you
So
were talking to cinema managers who were
I
talking about this.
wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if there were people that just went, fuck this. Like, I'm
Yep.
not dealing with that. And it's like, and I was like, I mean, we were both so thankful that we went to see it, the screening we
Before the
had
yeah.
before all of that. Because I was like, I would have, like, I mean, I don't think I would have seen this
Other
on my own
outside of yeah, yeah,
accord
yeah.
outside. But I was like, but I am eternally grateful that I was not in a chicken jockey session because
Oh, thank God, no.
I would have been just a mean old man in those and would have
On
been like,
a
yeah,
warpath of movie etiquette, Peter
walked
Gray.
out and been like, you call the police and shut this shit down right now.
Oh Lord, but no, neither of them at a billion yet. One contender we thought, which hasn't really come to fruition, but
Hmm.
still made a shitload of money. Number
Yeah.
three, so 2.1 million this weekend at the box office,
Wow.
cumulative total 20.97, so basically 21 million. How to Train Your Dragon,
Yeah.
uh,
Still make.
520 worldwide.
Yeah. Okay. Still pulling in over 2 million, and this in the Australian box office.
That's a lot of money.
We can be a fickle lot. So
We
that's
can be.
I mean, but again, school holidays. So
School holidays. It's yeah,
it released at the right time.
and it's been a healthy time for the Australian box office as well, and I
Yeah,
think
no,
it's going
like
to
it,
continue over the next few weeks.
and it makes me very happy because like there was a time when you'd see box office results and it would just be like, oh my God, everyone's going to the movies, and it's funny. Like I think
Mm.
there's still this this perception that like no one goes to the theaters anymore. We all wait for it to come on digital, and you're like, well, clearly not. and like I just no, some of these films aren't available
No.
yet
Yeah,
on
that's it.
digital.
That's it.
So I yeah, it's like it's kind of nice that maybe the tides are turning and we're getting back to when people actually went to the theater.
I hope so. I really hope so. These next two movies obviously are somewhat a beacon of light
Mm.
in that mine shaft of cinema going. But number two, $4.7 million for a cumulative total of 15 million. F1, the movie.
Wow.
Everyone loves it. Everyone I've spoken to
But like
fucking loves
four
F1.
$4 million in what it's
Second week, yeah.
second
So
week.
9 million first week, and then four
Ooh,
million us. Yeah, yeah, just over 9 million. Yeah,
Brad Brad Pitt got that.
he's a
And
movie
again,
star.
and talking like linking it back to Superman, someone who's had his share of controversies, and there's been a
Sure,
lot of chatter about how this movie, like how this press tour has like he's
been
trying to,
carefully orchestrated.
but
Yep,
it's like it's working. And I think we're also forgetting like not everybody is so chronically online that
totally.
like we're not excusing what he's been accused of, but I'm like, but it is such a Twitter thing
Yes,
of
yes.
like, oh my God, like Brad's done this, he's done that, like, oh, F1 is just trying to paint him in a better light. But I'm like, but like the general public,
Don't
they don't
know
really
this,
care.
and they don't give a shit.
The
Yeah,
dads that are going to this are just like, isn't he still married to Angelina Jolie? Like
yeah. No,
they
they're
don't
there for
care.
fast cars and
Yeah.
smooth talking and
And it's like,
whatever.
and that's not to say that again, like it's not,
It doesn't
and
discredit the
doesn't discredit it.
validity.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like what has been accused has been
Hmm.
awful,
Hmm.
but it's like it's not affecting. I think we forget that like what is said online doesn't always translate to what
I
the
would,
general public.
well, I would even just say to real life
Yeah,
as well. That's kind of
yeah,
there's a distinct difference between, yeah, like you said,
yeah,
chronically online and the real world existing
yeah.
and people how
But
people navigate it. Yeah,
F1 has it's just we I mean we spoke about it, it hits all of the right
it's that
quadrants when it
four quadrant
comes
movie.
to yeah. And if people want to go to the movies and spend $4 million over a weekend to watch it, as cinema people, we're like, do it.
Please
Come
do it.
on, please
Continue,
do it.
please.
'Cause yeah, it makes
Well,
keeps us alive.
it would have made more if it wasn't for that pesky little Jurassic World
Uh,
Rebirth coming in at number one at the box office, $9 million. Big old box office for this franchise. This, and you know what's funny?
yeah.
300 and something, what was it? 334 million worldwide opening
Yeah.
weekend. And the rhetoric behind that, that's a low performing opening for Jurassic World, the
Oh,
Jurassic franchise.
it's
Come on.
but I feel like it made more than
I think for
it
the
made more
Jurassic
than
World ones, I don't
three.
know specifically, but
I just
like,
yeah,
come
and it
on.
was like, oh, it only had a B cinema score and everything, and you're like,
It's
okay,
yeah.
like, can we just like this movie's going to be it's going to turn a profit because it
Hmm.
had a astronomically low budget in comparison. And like, okay, it might not make a billion, but now people because it over like it's funny, it overperformed.
Overperformed its analytics,
But
like
yet
or its
everyone's like,
predictions.
oh, but it didn't make as much as it should have for a Jurassic movie. And you're like, well, the last two Jurassic movies were dog shit. So,
Literally.
so also maybe people started to be like, well, actually, we were burned the last time, so
Yeah.
let's go into this one more cautious. And perhaps that's why it's not doing as
As
well.
well,
But
yeah.
like $330 million not is not as well. Like, piss off.
Yeah, it's doing incredibly well. It's
So
like
like
this solidifies that we're getting more Jurassic World films. Like
and you know what? If we're going to get more Jurassic World films with this as the starter, good, because I really liked
this
Scarlett and Mahershala and Jonathan together.
so
And
this is funny, right? So we saw it a couple of weeks ago for the interviews. And obviously, as per normal, had to hold our reactions because of
mm,
embargoes and stuff. And then the Brisbane screening, like general media screening, happened.
mm,
and the reactions were terrible. A lot of people hated the
Oh
film.
yeah, I was like,
So then I
oh
was
okay.
talking to people and I was like, oh, like you really didn't like it that much. And they're like, yeah, yeah. I was like, oh, did you see like Dominion and Fallen Kingdom? And they were like, oh, no, no, no. And I was like, oh, I was like, yes, I agree to an extent. You shouldn't review a movie comparatively
No,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time. But when you haven't seen the pure dog shit that was Dominion and Fallen Kingdom, Rebirth was a nice, fresh breath of air
Yeah.
in this franchise. Like it was simple and to the point and had some fun dino action. It's not perfect, and we talked about that last week, but
Mm,
it is far better than the fucking last two Jurassic World movies we had.
yeah.
On par
And
with
I-
the Jurassic World itself, right?
yeah, and like, because I rewatched Jurassic World recently
Yes.
because I was like, I wanted just to be like, where does Rebirth sit in
Sit, sure.
regarding stuff? And I have decided that
Ooh.
Rebirth is better than Jurassic World.
Wow. Okay, maybe I'll
And
have to rewatch it too.
I think some of that does come down to I, Chris Pratt in Jurassic World. Just there's a little bit more performativeness to his delivery.
Right.
Like
He's
he's real,
acting.
like he's yeah, like he's really,
Okay.
he stands in the elevator door and like broods at the cat. Like like
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
yes, Scarlett Johansson is acting and Jonathan Bailey is acting, but I don't know, they just feel a bit more playful and like
Sure.
natural on screen. Chris Pratt, and I've got nothing. And again, it's one of those things. It's the Superman episode because everyone has their issue with Chris Pratt and everything. But
Well, yeah.
I'm like, Guardians of the Galaxy, he's charming and he's done some great things. And like Jurassic World isn't bad because of him, but
Mm.
like there was just something about him that I was like, yeah, you're not as engaging as a lead
As a yes.
as this newer lot. But then Chris Pratt ended up. It's funny. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard were like, "You guys are like really keeping these next two Jurassic films together because
Yeah.
everything going on outside of them is just bonkers."
Wild. Wildly
Um,
bonkers, yeah.
but yeah, and then I rewatched The Lost World to be like,
Do I?
"Is this
Yeah, yeah, because it's very
And
similar
I
to
was like,
that, yeah.
I love that The Lost World is so mean. It's such a dark little
It's a
movie. It's so
dark movie.
great. But no, like yeah, it's funny how everyone's had their reaction to Rebirth because I saw a lot of like, make it
Mm.
stop, make it end. Why do we have these and everything? And I was like, well, like there's a reason why we have them. Everyone's showing up to them for
Everyone
stuff.
keeps watching them. They make $1 billion
Um,
every
and
fucking time they come to the cinemas.
and again, if it's the worst movie you've ever seen, go see Birdemic and we can talk.
Go see more bad films. Absolutely. Well, that was the Australian box office provided by Numero. And speaking of watching bad films, let's talk about one that I don't think was a bad film at all. And that is James Gunn's new film, the start of the DCU, Superman.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Your choices, your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent. As the embodiment of truth, justice, and the human way, he soon finds himself in a world that views these as old-fashioned. So, Superman, based on the iconic and beloved character from DC Comics, written and directed by James Gunn. This is the first film in the new DCU, the DC universe, and the second reboot of Superman in cinema. David Corenswet is the new Clark Kent and Superman, alongside Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. So, setting up context for last night's screening.
Mm.
The dumb fucks at the Daily Beast broke embargo and had a really negative review. Having a negative review doesn't make the embargo break any worse or any better. They're fucking morons for breaking embargo. And I hope they hear this. Our little podcast, if Daily Beast hear this, you guys suck, and I hope to never ever be associated with you.
Well, I mean, they had to take it down,
They did have to take it
so at
down.
least that's like, hopefully means that they had enough backlash, or Warner Brothers was like, "Hey,
Yeah. Watch him
what
get
the
invited to
fuck?"
the next
Yeah,
fucking WB film though.
yeah.
And it was very negative, but that was the only reaction we saw. And we messaged
Mm.
each other and we were like, oh, geez, like they were making some pretty like heavy points there.
Uh,
And then a couple of hours before the screening, our screening last night, the international social embargo dropped and it was
yep.
overwhelmingly positive. So we were
Yeah.
like, okay, all right. So
Yeah.
sometimes I like that. And I think you're the same, where we don't know what to expect. So went in pretty much like some people loved it, some people hated it. It was
Yeah.
overwhelmingly positive, but there was like a blasting like negative review. We sat down and within 30 seconds, I was like, oh, I'm going to like this.
Mm.
I love the way it looks. I love the title card text opening that we get to sort of provide the context. Where this story is taking place 3 years after Clark Kent has emerged as Superman to the world. Superman's been around for 3 years. And I love that they use the recurring three. So 3 centuries ago, 3 decades ago, 3 years ago. And then the last one is 3 minutes ago, Superman lost his first battle. Or
Yeah.
3 hours ago, sorry.
3 hours ago, he lost his first battle. 3 minutes ago, he's just landed on like the Fortress of Solitude, and he's like in agony.
The first image we see of Superman is him spitting blood into the snow.
Yeah.
It's confronting.
Yeah.
But immediately I was like, ooh, I think I'm gonna like this. I like James Gunn's films. The only one that I haven't loved compared to others was the Suicide Squad. I thought it was good, but not great.
Oh, okay.
Whereas, like, I love the Guardians trilogy. I think that's pretty good. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I'm not a huge fan of, but the first one and the third one I'm a fan of. We were talking, we briefly mentioned it in the screening last night. Like, he loves sort of throwing back to sort of his more horror roots. Every now and then, there's some imagery and some violence in Superman that's very reminiscent of
And a
sort of like
bone sound effect.
A bone, yes. So I'm a fan of James Gunn. Before going into Superman, James Gunn to you, what as a filmmaker, are you a fan of his work?
Yeah, like it was so weird going into it last night because I spoke with Nick about this offline. I was just like, even before the negative review came out, I was still just a bit like, I don't know if I'm excited as I should be about Superman. Obviously the DC EU, prior to this had its many ups and its many downs. I did like that when it came to the Marvel DC sort of comparison. Obviously, Marvel got more things right.
Yeah.
Lesser so in the later iterations.
They had a formula and it was working for this.
But like from Iron Man to like Endgame, that was pretty consistent.
Sure.
I did like that at least with DC, they took really big swings.
Yeah.
They might not have always landed, but they very much were like, let's go with whatever vision this is.
Sure.
So I've liked, I've liked the DCEU. I'm excited for DCU to see where it goes. But I just going into this last night, I was a bit like, I don't know how to feel about this movie because like the trailers were fine.
Yeah, there was there was parts of the trailers where I was like, this looks great, and the music, I was so excited to hear John Murphy's score. But like, I was the same. Everything I saw, I was like, oh yeah, cool. Like I'm interested more than excited, I guess.
And again, like I was like, and David Corenswet looked incredible as Superman. Rachel Brosnahan was such a great Lois.
Loved him in Twisters. Loved him in Pearl. Like
the casting is so good. And James Gunn, I was like, like the guys, the Galaxy films are great. I was like, I love the Suicide Squad. I think it's so good. But again, and it's like it's hard not to be comparative with Suicide Squad, but like the Suicide Squad just leaning into like the violence and everything,
the pure batshit insanity.
Yeah, and like so, and like I've loved the things that he's then kind of been involved, like like Brightburn and things like that. But yeah, I was just still a bit okay. I'll go into this and be like, this is probably one of the first, it's probably one of the first screenings that we've been to with like a big audience
Yeah,
because
yeah,
we've been very spoiled
we have.
lately. Like even Wendy, our Universal rep, where she was like, she's like, I'm not used to seeing you. She's like,
When I
she's
rocked
like,
up, she said this.
it's always just us. Like, where is? And I was like,
I
yeah,
never see
well,
you at these nighttime screenings. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm sorry, Wendy. Like, you keep showing the movies to
You
me
keep
early.
showing
I'm
us really
sorry.
good, yeah. But obviously, yeah, the negative review didn't help because I was
No.
like, oh, maybe this is
Well,
leaning
it's
into,
plants a seed of doubt, right? You kind of
yeah,
go, maybe it does. Maybe it is going to suck.
maybe it
Like,
isn't going to be good. And then all the positive things came out, and it kind of was like, okay, like it's balancing out. Like the general consensus seems to be it's a little bit messy, but
mhm.
Corin Sweat is great, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So yeah, like was sitting down and was like, let's just see what this is. Like any person should be when they go to a movie. I was like, I'm not going to let the negative things over like be my main point. I'm not going
Take
to let
it
the
for what it
positive
is.
I'm not going
Yeah.
to let the positive things influence me to be like, oh, is it actually is like it's really good even if it isn't. And yeah, like the opening title scroll with like 3 decades, 3 hours. I was like, okay, cool. Like it's not rehashing an origin story because we do not need another
No.
Superman origin story. Like they took the Spider-Man route where it's like he's Superman. Like we
Yeah,
all
you
know.
just, yeah,
We
yeah,
don't need to
we know
see
this
it.
story.
Um
But it drip
and it's
feeds
funny because
enough little things in there as well to be like, it gives you the story. Like
yeah,
you know everything you need to know going into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny sort of having like, this image of like him spitting blood into snow and you're like, oh wow, that's confronting. And then like immediately afterwards he whistles and Crypto, the super dog,
The
runs in and you just
star of the
like
show.
and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, so this is gonna be a little bit whimsical and playful. And it very much like as much as the film has moments of darkness,
Mhm.
it has its political sheen
Yep.
over it. This is very much like this is a comic book movie. It's like
Yep.
it's loud, it's colorful, it's a little bit goofy,
It's
like
very goofy.
and
I
it's
think it's
but
very silly. Yeah,
it's
in some
very
points.
earnest. Like
Agreed.
it's like this is what it's like it's a Saturday morning cartoon come to life with
Hmm.
maybe a little bit of like adult things thrown in.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, like and I think maybe that's going to be interesting to see how people respond to it because it's like we're so used to seeing grit
Yep.
from especially from DC.
Especially from DC.
Um
Especially when you currently have, even though it's in the Elseworlds portion of what DC Studios are doing, when you got something like the Batman, which
yeah,
people responded to incredibly well. We know the Batman
yeah,
Part 2 has been written like we know that there is a part of the DC universe that is dark. Joker Follejeu. Like we've got this really fucked up side of it as well.
yeah,
But like we were saying earlier, I like those movies. I like the Dark Knight trilogy. It really paved the way for these gritty sort of films. Man of
yeah.
Steel has a lot of grit to it. Zack Snyder's Justice League has a lot of grit
Mm,
to it. But as a singular event, that was cool.
mm,
This came onto the screen, like you said, it's colorful, it's vibrant, it's comic booky, it's very goofy, it's fun. It has so much heart and earnestness to it
mm.
that I almost felt like I was seeing something new for the first
Yeah,
time. When
yeah,
I haven't. I watch Saturday morning cartoons. I've read
yeah,
comic
yeah,
books. I've seen this 1978 Superman how many times.
yeah,
So it was almost refreshing to be like, this is a lot of fun. I had a dumb fucking grin on my face from start to finish. David Corrin Sweat is so much fun in this movie. The way he embodies Clark Kent as this sort of awkward guy, a little bit bumbling, but he's also been Superman for long enough that there's those parts that confidence do bleed into Clark Kent, which is kind
yeah.
of great as well. And then him as Superman, the physicality that he embodies, there's this incredible earnestness. There's a monologue towards the end that he does to Lex Luthor
Oh, yeah,
about being human.
yeah.
That was so moving and it's so well done by
And
Colin
felt
Sweat.
very pointed.
Very pointed, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it works. Like it worked in the film, let alone being, as James Gunn himself has said, a political
Mm,
statement. It's
mm,
very much like this super earnest moment, and Corin Sweat delivers it. But he has these really charming, funny moments as well. He does the quippy one-liners. It's in the trailer, but when Mr. Terrific's like, get up, you're wasting time. He's like, I'm not wasting time, I'm doing really important stuff. And he's like just
Yeah.
had the shit beaten out of him. So this movie has so much dynamic vibrancy in all of its elements, in the visual aspect, in the story aspect, the characters, that it felt like I was watching something new.
Hmm.
But it's new because we've had such a dark lead up of super, even in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like Thunderbolts is really good, but it's this really more darkly mature,
Hmm.
emotional MCU film. So like, it's nice to be like, this is just fun.
Yeah.
It's a really fun movie.
I think like I will say because I was like, it's not perfect.
No, no, no,
I
no.
will say I wanted more Clark Kent. Like we
Sure,
don't get a
sure,
lot
sure.
of him as Clark Kent. And it's like, and it was funny, we see him as Superman, very like, and it's funny how he's like, even though he's confident as Superman, there's still moments of like, like I get like, like a almost like a teenage boy, like trying to figure out what he needs to do. And then we see him walk into the Daily Planet as Clark, and like, he's got the glasses on, he's the hair's a little bit more disheveled. He's like
Yeah.
maneuvering around people, and it's like he genuinely looks like a different person.
Person,
Like this isn't
for
like a
sure.
Henry Cavill situation where you're like it's just Henry Cavill in glasses, like David Corenswet. And even though we do hear a reason for why people don't look at Clark in a certain
In a certain
way,
way, yeah, yeah.
which we won't spoil,
No,
but like he just the way that he walks around the Daily Planet and the way that he kind of interacts with people is very much not Superman. And I was like, I would have loved some more Daily Planet things because
sure, sure, yeah, yeah,
unfortunately
yeah.
I do feel like apart from obviously Lois and Jimmy,
Hmm.
the Daily Planet stuff are just sidelined in this.
Very much so, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's a shame because I'm like, Wendell Pierce as Perry White is great.
Yep.
You've got Beck Bennett in there as Steve
He has one
Lombard.
moment that I was just like, unless you're a Beck, like, you don't have to be a Beck Bennett
You don't
fan to
have
do
to
it,
be a
but
Beck
as
Bennett
a
fan,
Beck
but
Bennett fan, I
yeah.
was like, this is hilarious.
And I also
Ellen Hoover in there as well, yep.
heard sidebar about Beck Bennett. I think Sarah Sherman from SNL was on a podcast,
I
and they
saw
were
this.
talking about people with great reputations, and she was like, there was not one person that did not like
Beck
Beck
Bennett.
Bennett. She
Yep.
was like, he
Nicest
would
guy
like
ever at SNL, yeah.
they were like they would talk about like he would leave the building and they would be like, oh, it's a shame that Beck isn't here, and all the new cast were like, well, fuck us, right? Like, really? I just thought that was really really nice to
He's
hear.
great. But I know
But
what you
like,
mean.
yeah,
Like,
you just
there's a lot going on in this film.
and it's funny how one of the criticisms for, I guess, post Man of Steel was that they were really trying to get to that Justice League quicker. Obviously, here they introduce the Justice Gang,
The Justice Gang, which
um,
is
and it's
a working name
working
as
working
proclaimed
name,
by
and
Jor-El.
it's funny because it's like, well, this could have been a Justice Superman movie, and scenes with the Justice Gang could have been subbed out for, maybe more human scenes. But I didn't, I didn't dislike that Justice Gang was introduced here.
Sure.
I think Mr. Terrific he was. It
Really
sounds
great.
weird, like he was terrific, but
He
like he
was.
was.
No, but he really was, yeah.
Etty Gathegi.
Yeah.
Nathan Fillion's having an absolute ball as Green Lantern.
Super funny.
Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl underutilized, in my opinion,
I would say that
which is
whole Justice Gang is sort of, until Mr. Terrific becomes a bigger part of the plot. I was like, I want more of these guys, but I do agree that it may have extended the film longer than it needed to be as well.
yeah.
So I'm excited to see more of them.
That's it.
But
Like
yeah,
it's made me very excited to see where he's going to go because I'm like, it looks like we're going to get the kind of Green Lantern that everyone wanted that we didn't get. If Hawk Girl is here, I'm like, does this mean that we can get Aldous Hodge as Hawkman in? Because he was one of the greatest things about Black Adam.
that is true. That is true.
And James Gunn has sort of said he wants to keep
Some
some
things,
elements and
yeah.
some not, because we do get a particular cameo in this of a previous DC person.
Yep, yep,
We have like Frank Grillo popping up as General Flag, so you're like, okay, so there's that
yep.
connection. We get Supergirl very briefly, which we know is setting up
The next
for
film. Yep.
the next film. So I like that James Gunn clearly has a vision.
Sure. Sure.
Um, yeah, I was like the Justice Gang thing. I was a bit like, oh, I like this, but I'm like, did it need to be in a Superman movie when
Exactly. Yeah.
Superman is so great? The relationship with him and Lois, I was like, oh, there's one scene where she's like interviewing
Yes.
Superman, even though it's Clark, and she's like, "You're gonna have to talk to me as if I'm a journalist. Like,
Yeah, as
let's
if
go."
you guys haven't been dating for the last 3
And
months. Yeah.
he's finding it really difficult to like talk to her as Lois the journalist and not Lois his girlfriend.
Hmm.
And that scene, I was like, "Oh my God, these two bouncing off each other is
Their
so
chemistry is
great. Their
incredible in
chemistry
that
is
moment.
insane."
Yeah.
And it's like, but then they feel quite separated for so much of the movie as well.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I'm like, oh, so it has its moments of like everything in here is great,
Great.
but
Yeah.
I felt like I don't know if
It's a little jumpy. It definitely
yeah
is a little bit jumpy for
yeah,
sure.
it doesn't linger on anything very
No.
long. Like it's very much
And it flies by because that's
yeah
like
for a
2
movie
hours,
that's
10 minutes, and it
yeah
just
like doesn't feel
flies.
it.
It's never boring,
And
that's for sure.
no,
I was
I think
never bored.
yeah, even and then even when the film kind of goes in very bizarre directions, which would include Nicholas Holtz as Lex Luthor, he's got this whole
Pocket
the
universe.
other
Yeah.
universe prison thing that I was like, this is wild.
Yeah. It's
Um,
big. It's bold.
like cool, but like wild. And that leads to a Russian roulette scene, which I was like, oh, this came out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
Yeah. Maybe
So
cover your kids' eyes for that one. Yeah.
so like like tonally, it's like
That's always been James Gunn though, because even if you
yeah,
think about like Guardians 3 and like
yeah,
Guardians have always had this jovial tone, and then we're watching animals get tortured
yeah.
in Guardians 3, you know what I mean? So he's
Um,
always had this sort of lingering darkness, I guess you could say,
yeah. But
over these really
but
joyful films.
mentioning Nicholas Holt,
Incredible.
incredible Lex Luthor.
Hated Lex Luthor, and that's
Like
the point.
I love that because he said that he said he took inspiration from Michael Rosenbaum in Smallville and Steve Jobs.
That's
And I
cool.
was like, I get that. Because what I love about this is that he he's so like maniacal. He's so like
He's so
as a
hell bent on taking Superman
yeah, he's
down.
like as a human, like I'm better than you.
Yes.
He's like dedicated his like basically the last 3 years to finding out a way how to actually
Kill
beat
Superman, yeah.
Superman because he has this
And
whole
it's
thing where
cool.
he's like
The way
yeah
he sort of figures out is very cool.
because he has this whole thing of like brains is going to beat brawn,
Yeah.
which is very nicely then looped back with what Superman does. But I like that because Lex Luthor in this is so hell bent on it, and he in his mind he has his end game set.
Yeah.
It means like he's reckless
Hmm.
and like he is probably one of the first Luthers to feel like a genuine threat because
Agreed. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's not like sitting back like that sort of thing. He's actually like
Well, he's not a
but then
real estate mogul
but
like Gene Hackman.
but then he gets like so desperate because
Yeah.
Superman's kind of fighting back, and it's like when you see him just like lose his shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and so so it makes me excited to see where they'll take
Yep.
Lex as a character as well. But like because I'd heard that people were like, oh, Lex Luthor isn't utilized as much, and I was like, I
I
feel like
disagree.
he's pretty like
He's the fucking villain of the film.
he's got a presence in this movie as
I would
well.
agree. I would agree.
Um,
And he's a scene stealer as well.
yeah, and like it's not hard for Nicholas Hoult to be a scene stealer, but like in a movie like this, you're like, well, you need the villains to be kind of over the top and
Yeah, yeah.
theatrical, and
Well,
Nicholas Hoult like
it's that
leans
comic
into
book
that.
feel, right? Like
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're here for. That's exactly
yeah,
what we're after, and he plays it up to the perfect degree. Like it is
yeah,
not too much, it's not too little. He finds that tone, same way David Corenset finds that tone, same way James Gunn found the tone, same way Rachel Brosnahan found the tone,
mm,
same way Crypto finds the tone. Like it is
oh,
just very much so. Everyone is on the same wavelength in this film, and that is a big reason probably why it works as well as it does as well. No
Yeah,
one is
like the
trying to do gritty superhero. No one
yeah,
is trying to do over the top fantastical superhero.
yeah. Like even like Ma and Pa are just
Yeah,
like just
they're
the most
just there.
yeah, and but just the most like, oh hush, your tone. Like it's so and what I really like is that you can see that David Corenswet's iteration of Clark Kent and Superman is like he's so wholesome that like he doesn't swear. Like he's like, ah,
Dang.
shucks. Like it's so like endearing
It is
that
very endearing, yeah.
he's just like good overcomes evil, and he's like,
Calling
and I am good, and I'm going to
calling
show the
Crypto
world I'm
dude is a
good.
part of that as well. Like
Yeah,
he calls the
like
dog dude, and I
he's
was like, oh.
and then there's like and the very end credit sequence, which like you can stay for them, but you're also not missing
We will
anything.
say, and this is a slight spoiler for end credit scenes, so if you don't want to listen, just fast for like 15 seconds. Neither of the two end credit scenes have a direct effect on what's coming next.
No,
They are little vignettes that like they're like little, I don't know, they're like punchlines to jokes, basically.
yeah,
One of
like
them is
you
a
get
punchline, one of them is
so like Supergirl is in the film before
she's
the
in the
end
film.
credits,
Yeah.
like she's in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like a final little moment at the end of the credits
Mhm.
where again it plays into how like wholesome Superman is
Yes.
and how he's like he sort of is mildly critical of something and then he's kind of on his own.
He's
He's
like,
like
ah,
and he's like, "Oh, why did you have to go and say that?" Like it's oh, he's so adorable in
so
it.
wholesome. It's
For a man,
but
for a man that's 6 foot whatever and like, but also we'll say they don't give us any thirst moments.
there's
He
no Henry
stays
Cavill with his shirt off
he
moments.
stays fully clothed for this.
Throughout the
So
film.
for the gays and girls who are hoping for a Henry Cavill titty bounce moment, you don't get it.
No titty bouncing in this film. But
Sorry.
like we said, I think this is a massive recommend from for both of us. I
Yeah.
truly loved the experience of watching this film. Like you said, this even though it has its flaws, it is still such an entertaining film and feels like a direction we want the DCU to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for what's going to happen. And I'm also just like, I also want to be like, oh, who's he going to cast as Batman and who's going to
Everyone,
be
right?
Wonder
Yeah.
Woman and who's got like, I feel like, because he got it really, really spot on with
Agreed.
this. And we do see there's a scene where, naturally, because the Earth comes under attack again, as all
Yep.
these movies do, we see like a sign for Gotham City. So you're like,
In the
okay,
distance,
so we
yeah.
know that like Gotham City and Metropolis are kind of
They're still
border,
there. They're still
they're
next
still
to each
there.
other. Yeah, yeah.
So that makes me feel like okay, like he is planning
He's
enough
got
to be
something
like.
going on.
So
He's planting seeds.
I feel like James Gunn being directing this one, writing this one, and but also now being like the DC Studios like
The head
head.
of it, yeah.
I feel like these movies are going to be very well connected.
I agree.
Like, even though we'll obviously get different directors doing different films, I feel like there'll be this thread where it's like,
He's Kevin Feige now. He's the
yeah,
Kevin Feige
where
of
he's
DC.
like, where if something's mentioned in something, it won't be just weirdly changed for something
Agreed.
else. Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah.
That was Superman. Big recommend. You can read my full review of that at waterscreens.com. Pete's review of that at theaureview.com. That brings us to the end of another episode of World of Screens podcast. Flew by like Superman himself. Next week on the show, we will be reviewing. Hold on to your pants, Pete. I
Okay.
know what you did last summer.
Who told you?
Wait for this part. And I will be making Pete blind rank slasher franchises,
Oh,
which I know is a love of Mr. Peter Gray's over there. So be on the watch out. Next week's show is probably not one you're going to want to miss because Pete is going to have an existential crisis.
yeah, because I feel like you're not going to give me the one that I'm going to rate first.
I know exactly the one you're going to rate first. And whether or not it pops in there, we'll find out. So wait until next week to see what happens there. In the meantime, you can head to worldofscreens.com for the latest film, TV reviews, and incredible articles about so much more. You can follow me at NixFlixFix or at World of Screens on Instagram, X, and Letterboxd. Pete, where can the people find you?
Letterboxd, X, Instagram, @ratedPDG, theaureview.com for reviews and interviews, and Rotten Tomatoes, Peter Gray, GRAY.
A-Y.
Yeah, I'm one of the freshies for Superman.
one of the freshest.
But you know what? There's
a
lot of us so sucked into everyone who thought it was going to fail because the last count was 86 or something.
86 or something, I think, certified fresh. So it's here to stay as fresh. But that is another episode, and we will see you next week on the Word Screens podcast.